Have you ever had that frustrating moment where you read an incredible book, watched a life-changing documentary, or stumbled upon a brilliant idea, only to realize 2 weeks later that you can't remember a single specific detail from it? You know it was good, you know it changed how you thought for a moment, but now it's just a blurry, faded memory. It's like trying to hold water in your bare hands. No matter how hard you squeeze, it just leaks through your fingers. Most of us are living in a state of constant information overload. We consume more data in a single day than our ancestors did in their entire lifetimes. We're rich in information, but poor in wisdom. And the scariest part? This constant stream of new things is actually making us more anxious, more distracted, and less creative. We've turned our biological brains into high-pressure storage units, trying to force them to remember every appointment, every to-do list, and every random fact we see on the internet. But here's the cold, hard truth. Your brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. When I first came across Tiago Forte's concept of a second brain, I thought it was just another fancy productivity hack. I thought it was about downloading more apps or becoming an obsessed note-taker. I was wrong. It's actually about a fundamental redesign of how you interact with the world around you. It's about building an external system that works for you 24/7, so your biological brain can finally do what it was evolved to do: imagine, create, and solve problems. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to build a digital ecosystem that ensures you never lose a great idea again. I'm talking about a system that makes writing, working, and creating feel like you're just putting together Lego blocks instead of staring at a terrifying blank screen. But here is the catch, and it's a big one. Most people who try to build a second brain end up creating a digital graveyard instead. They spend weeks organizing folders and tagging notes, only to find that their system is so complex they never actually use it. In fact, your current habit of saving things for later might actually be the very thing that's paralyzing your creativity right now. So, what is the fatal mistake everyone makes when they start taking notes, and how can you avoid it before you waste another hour of your life?
The big mistake I'm talking about is organizing information by topic. It sounds logical, right? You find a great article about marketing, so you put it in a folder called Marketing. You find a cool recipe, so you put it in a folder called Food. But here's the problem. When you're actually in the middle of a project, like launching a new campaign or cooking dinner, you don't have time to go digging through giant libraries of categories. Your brain doesn't work in categories, it works in actions. This is where Tiago Forte's PARA method comes in. It stands for projects, areas, resources, and archives. The magic of this system is that it organizes information based on how actionable it is, not what it's about. Think of projects as the things you're working on right. It's a specific YouTube video, a website redesign, or a fitness goal for the month. These are your active front burners. Areas are the things that require ongoing maintenance over time, like your finances, your health, or your long-term career development. There's no end date here, just a standard you want to maintain. Resources are your interests, the things you're curious about but don't have a specific deadline for yet. This could be anything from Stoic philosophy to interior design. And finally, archives are the things that are finished or no longer active. By shifting from topics to para, you're basically clearing a path for your brain. You stop asking, where does this go? And you start asking, in which project will this be useful? Suddenly, your digital space isn't a cluttered library anymore. It's a streamlined workshop where every tool is exactly where you need it, exactly when you need it. This system alone will save you hours of mental energy every single week. It feels amazing to finally have a place for everything. But, and this is where most people get caught in a second trap, simply having an organized system is not the same as being creative. In fact, you can have the most perfect parastructure in the world and still produce absolutely nothing. You might have thousands of perfectly categorized notes, but they are just sitting there, cold and dead. If you don't know how to actually breathe life into these notes and turn them into something original, you're just a digital hoarder with a fancy filing cabinet. So, how do you take all this information you've captured and actually extract the gold from it without spending hours rereading everything? What is the specific technique that allows you to glance at a note you took a year ago and understand its core message in less than 10 seconds?
The technique I'm talking about is called progressive summarization. This is the secret to turning a massive pile of notes into a high-speed knowledge machine. You see, the biggest problem with taking notes is that we often capture too much. We copy and paste huge blocks of text, we save entire articles, and then we never look at them again because the sheer volume of information is overwhelming. It feels like work just to read your own notes. Progressive summarization solves this by looking at note-taking as a process of layers. Think of it like an onion. The first layer is simply the raw text you captured. Maybe it is a quote from a book or a transcript from a podcast. This is your foundation. But you don't stop there. A few days or weeks later, when you come across that note again, you add the second layer. You bold the most important sentences. You don't rewrite anything yet, you just highlight the parts that make your heart beat a little faster. This immediately makes the note more scannable. Then, if that note continues to be useful, you add a third layer. You highlight the best of the best from your bolded text. You are looking for the absolute core of the idea. And finally, for the most important notes, you add a fourth layer, a short summary at the very top in your own words. This summary is like a gift to your future self. It tells you exactly why this information matters and how you can use it without you having to reread the entire thing. The beauty of this method is that it is incredibly efficient. You don't summarize every note you take. That would be a waste of time. You only add layers to the notes that you actually find yourself returning to. You're basically doing the work of thinking in small, manageable chunks over time. By the time you are ready to start a project, you don't have to face a blank page. You have a collection of highly distilled, pre-summarized ideas that are ready to be used. You can look at a note that's months old and understand the main point in 5 seconds. This is how you build a brain that is not just full of facts, but full of insights. It feels like having a superpower. You become a person who can connect dots that others can't even see. But here's the thing that no one tells you about having a second brain. You can have the most beautiful, layered notes in the world, and you can have them all organized in your perfect parafolders. But if you don't know how to move from consumption to production, you're still stuck. In fact, there's a very specific type of procrastination that happens to people who build these systems. It is called the research trap. You feel like you're being productive because you're highlighting and summarizing, but you aren't actually creating anything. You're just preparing to create forever. So how do you break out of the cycle of endless preparation? How do you actually take these distilled nuggets of wisdom and turn them into a finished project without getting overwhelmed by the scale of the task? The answer lies in a radical shift in how we think about work itself. Now we come to the part where everything we've talked about actually pays off. This is the moment where you stop being a student of information and start being a creator of value. Tiago Forte calls this stage express, and it is the entire reason we build a second brain in the first place. But as I mentioned before, this is also where most people get paralyzed. They look at a big project like writing a book or launching a business, and the scale of it feels so massive that they just go back to taking more notes. They stay in the research trap because it feels safe. The secret to breaking this cycle is a concept called intermediate packets. Think of these as the small, bite-sized building blocks of any larger project. Instead of trying to sit down and create a masterpiece in one go, you focus on creating tiny, useful nuggets of work. This could be a set of meeting notes, a single slide for a presentation, a short outline for a video, or even a list of bullet points from a brainstorming session. The power of intermediate packets is that they are reusable. When you create something small and save it in your second brain, it becomes a permanent asset.
You are no longer starting every project from a blank screen. Instead, you're looking through your folders and realizing that you have already done 60 or 70% of the work. You're just assembling the pieces. It's the difference between trying to build a house by making every single brick by hand versus having a warehouse full of pre-made walls and windows ready to be snapped into place. This shift in perspective changes how you view your daily work. Even if you only have 15 minutes between meetings, you can still create one small intermediate packet. You can summarize one article or outline one paragraph, because you know that this small effort isn't going to be lost. It is going to live in your second brain, waiting for the moment it becomes exactly what you need for a future project. But there's an even deeper level to this. When you work this way, you start to notice something strange happening. You start to see connections between ideas that seem completely unrelated. You might take a note about architectural design and realize it's the perfect metaphor for a business strategy you're developing. Or a scientific fact you learned months ago suddenly becomes the missing piece of a creative story you're writing. This is what a better brain looks like in action. It's a brain that is constantly making high-level connections because it's no longer burdened by the heavy lifting of remembering every tiny detail. You have outsourced the storage to your digital system, which frees up your biological mind to do the deep, intuitive, and creative thinking that only humans can do. So here's the challenge for you. Building a second brain is not about being more productive so you can do more work. It's about being more intentional so you can do better work. It's about creating a legacy of your thoughts and insights that grows over time. Take a look at your current digital life. Is it a cluttered mess of random files and half-finished thoughts? Or is it a streamlined ecosystem that supports your goals? If you feel overwhelmed, don't try to fix everything at once. Start by picking one project, just one. Create a folder for it using the para method and start capturing just the most important information related to that project. Use the layering technique we talked about to find the core insights. The more you use this system, the more you will trust it. And once you trust that your second brain has your back, the fear of forgetting disappears. The anxiety of information overload fades away. You stop being a passive consumer of the internet and start being an active participant in the world of ideas. You have the tools. You have the framework. Now, the only thing left to do is to start. Don't wait until you have the perfect note-taking app or the perfect organizational structure. The best system is the one you actually use. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how your second brain transforms not just how you work, but how you think.
Building a second brain is not a destination. It is not about reaching a point where your digital files are perfectly aligned and you never have to organize them again. It is a lifelong practice. It is about becoming the kind of person who is always learning, always growing, and always ready to share their unique perspective with the world. Think back to the first part of this video. We talked about that feeling of information leaking through your fingers like water. By implementing para, by practicing progressive summarization, and by focusing on intermediate packets, you are essentially building a vessel. You are creating a container that can hold that water, preserve it, and turn it into something that can nourish your creativity for years to come. Your biological brain is a miracle. It is capable of flashes of brilliance and deep emotional connections that no machine will ever replicate. Don't waste that miracle on remembering your grocery list or a random fact you found on a blog post. Give those tasks to your second brain. Free yourself to think big, to dream often, and to create things that actually matter. If you found value in this deep dive into Tiago Forte's system, then you are exactly the kind of person we are building this community for. Here at Better Brain, we believe that your mind is your greatest asset, and our goal is to give you the tools and the strategies to sharpen it every single day. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us. There are so many more systems to explore and so many more ways to upgrade your thinking. Also, if you have a specific system you use to keep track of your ideas, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. Let's learn from each other and build our collective Cineus together. Thank you so much for watching, for your time, and for your attention. Now, go open your Notes app, create your first project folder, and start building your own second brain. I will see you in the next one.